Hello and welcome. We are on the inventory valuation chapter this week, and I can see from what you've told me and emailed me and messaged me that you're having a little bit of trouble just really nailing down what is this LIFO, FIFO, and then the weighted average. What do all three of these actually mean? And I will say, do not worry that you don't understand it at first because it is a bit of a trickier accounting concept. I know a lot of accounting can be tricky in itself, but dealing with the FIFO, LIFO, the whole theory behind it could be a little out there at first, but it's going to click for you, and that's what we're going to do today. So to get us started, I think what's best is if I show you an Excel screen, and I'll stay up here in the back. And what we'll do is we'll tackle each different valuation method individually. And how do you go about solving just a general basic example of each? This way you can apply it to the harder problems. Okay, so let me open up Excel here. Okay, I got a sheet already. And what we're going to do is I'm going to briefly make a table for you. And what the table is going to have is four main columns. The first column is going to be the purchase date. So what we're going to do is we're going to have three different dates that we pretend our company is going to purchase inventory. Okay, so column one will be the purchase date. Column two will be the inventory itself. So what kind of inventory are we buying? So in this case, if we were a store that sold a lot of different things, we would specify, this is milk purchases. This is our t-shirts, pants, shorts, sneakers, bread, anything of that sort. The next column is going to be the number of units purchased on that date. And then the last column, for now, we're going to add one later on, but for now, the last column is going to be the price per unit. Actually, I'm going to change that to the cost per unit. This way we know it's what we had to pay to buy the inventory. Okay. Now what we're going to do, I looked around the house, the closest thing I have, the best thing I have to pretend we're going to sell is the little styrofoam balls. Okay. Again, the reason is I could write on them, and they're cheap little things I have around. Okay. So what we're going to do is I had three different dates that we're going to pretend we bought these bowls for. The first one, I'm going to pretend on January 18th, we purchased a bowl. Okay, I'm going to put bowl. I don't have to specify styrofoam bowl for our little thing. The number of units, we're only going to pretend we bought one on each date. Okay, again, we're going to start simple and then we can work our way up to more complex. But the key is understanding the most simple version of LIFO, FIFO, and weighted average. All right, and then the January 18th bowl, we're going to pretend cost us just $1. All right, the next one I have set up is February 2nd. So we're going to pretend on February 2nd, we purchased another bowl. We're only going to buy one. And now we're going to assume there's some inflation going on. So prices are rising. So it's going to cost us $2 for that bowl. All right. And now the last one, we're going to say was at March 30th. We bought another one. Again, just one more. And again, there's inflation. Things are going up. So it's going to cost $3. Right? So I'm just going to make this a little better visually for you. All right, so let's start with FIFO first. Our first example, and if at any time you have a question on what I'm talking about or doing on the screen, just blurt something out and stop me, okay? Don't let me ramble if you are getting lost. I'd rather backtrack and get you back on the right track. So FIFO. FIFO stands for from the readings, the text that you have, the presentations we have, first in, first out. So what that means is when we go and we sell inventory, we're going to assume we're not going to go out and find the specific item of inventory that we want to sell. That would take a lot of time. If we had a warehouse full of 100 of these little styrofoam balls, we're not going to go out and find the one from January 18th. We're just going to assume, if we are using FIFO as a company, that the bowl we select is from the very first batch of inventory purchased, which is on January 18th. Okay? So first in, first out means the very first unit or batch of inventory we purchased is going to be the first unit or batch we are going to sell. And then we work our way forward. So let's pretend we sell 2 bowls on April 23rd. Okay? And we're going to use FIFO. That's the example we have going for us, FIFO over here. So we sell 2 bowls. It's on April 23rd. We're using the first in, first out method. What that means is I'm going to go to the warehouse. I'm going to get whatever bowl I want. So here, I'm going to randomly pick a bowl. I'm going to pick the bowl from February 2nd. Okay, and I know that's backwards for you, but at least the gist is February 2nd. Now, the February 2nd bowl costs $2, but under FIFO, we don't care. FIFO, the assumption is for ease of use, for time management, for efficiency for any company, the deal is with FIFO, we're going to pretend that that bowl we grabbed was the January 18th bowl that cost us $1. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and highlight it and wipe it out. So I'm going to update here. January 18th. 1 bowl at $1. All right, so we accounted for one of the bowls we're going to sell on January 18th. Now, FIFO says first in, first out. So you go to the earliest purchase batch of inventory, you knock that one out. If this had more units, we would knock out as many units as possible until this entire date is eliminated. And then what we do is we work our way forward. So now that January 18th is gone, what's the next earliest date that we purchase inventory? February 2nd. So we're going to go ahead, and when we grab our second bowl, it could be from any date. I'm going to grab this random one. It turns out to be March 30th. And we're going to get rid of this. So we're going to assume the second bowl we grabbed, even though I actually grabbed the one for March 30th, we're going to assume for inventory valuation purposes, it's the February 2nd bowl at $2. Okay, does that make sense? So what we now have, we sold 2 bowls on April 23rd. The cost of goods sold for those 2 bowls, which we need for our income statement and for our journal entries, is going to be 1 bowl at $1 plus 1 bowl at $2, or a total cost of goods sold of $3. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so we're going to keep moving. We're going to go on to LIFO. And then what we'll do, if you need more, we'll tackle harder versions of these. So what I'm going to do for LIFO is I'm going to eliminate all the FIFO stuff. I'm going to unhighlight these categories. We're going to start fresh. We're going to pretend like we haven't done anything yet. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of these 2. So now we're on LIFO. So if you remember from your readings, LIFO stands for last in, first out. So what that means is last in, first out. The most recently purchased batch of inventory or unit of inventory is going to be the first one we sell. So this is the exact opposite of FIFO. So if we go ahead again, we're going to pretend on April 23rd, I could have left that part, we sell 2 units, we sell 2 bowls, okay? LIFO says we assume we're going to sell the most recently purchased bowl first. Doesn't matter what bowl we actually grab from the warehouse. I'm going to go ahead again, randomly grab one. Again, the first one I grabbed was February 2nd. Okay? So what we're going to assume, though, even though I actually grabbed the February 2nd bowl, we're using LIFO, we're going to assume we're selling the March 30th bowl first. So it's one bowl at $3 because that's what it cost us on March 30th. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to eliminate this row. Okay, so we accounted for March 30th, gone. Under LIFO, we work our way backwards. Okay, FIFO, we started early, first in, first out, and we worked our way forward. With LIFO, last in, first out, we're starting most recent and we're working our way backwards. Okay, so if we eliminate the March 30th bowl, we sold that one. We go to the warehouse, we grab any bowl. It does not matter where this bowl came from, what date we purchased it on. We're going to assume it's from the next most recently purchased batch of inventory, which in this case would be what? February 2nd. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to eliminate February 2nd, and we're going to say the second bowl came from February 2nd, one bowl at $2. So now we're done. We sold two bowls, we eliminated them. We're going to go ahead, and our new cost of goods sold is the cost of the bowl at March 30th at $3, plus the cost of the bowl at February 2nd of $2, and we're going to get $5. So under LIFO, the cost of goods sold is $5. So notice, just keep in your head, with FIFO, the cost of goods sold was $3 total. So depending on the method you use and depending on what's going on, inflation, deflation, just random up and down of prices, cost of goods sold is going to be different under each method, which means the value of your ending inventory is also going to be different under each method. All right? So that knocks out LIFO. So let's quickly go on to weighted average in the time we have. I'm going to eliminate again, column, start fresh. So weighted average means that we're going to take an average cost per unit of inventory. So this one involves a little more work at first, but I think it's way easier once you do that little bit of work. And what the weighted average says is we're going to need one more column to our table. And what we're going to calculate is the total cost. Now, since we're pretending we only purchase one unit of inventory at each date, this is a lot easier, and I almost don't even need this column. But let me explain it, and then we can get to more complex ones. So the total cost column is going to be a calculation, and I recommend you try this on paper first with pen and pencil, and then do it in Excel like I'm doing. It makes it a lot easier, but at least the pen and pencil really helps nail it home for you. So our total cost is going to be the number of units multiplied by the cost per unit. So this would be useful if we purchase more than one unit on each date. Again, we kind of don't need the table today because we only purchase one unit, but just so you have it for a reference when you're doing your own work, we're going to do it. Okay, and I drag the formula down. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add up all of the total costs. So equals the sum of all three of these. So we're going to get a total cost of $6. I'm going to bold it. What we next need to do, and then I'll show you the calculation why we need to do this, is get the total number of units of inventory that we have so far. So again, we're going to do equal sum. I know we could just add this in our head just for formula purposes. So we had 3 total units, and the total cost of these 3 units is $6. So what the weighted average says, the calculation is you take your total cost divided by total number of units of inventory. All right, so in this case, it's going to be $6 total divided by 3 total units. So it doesn't, there you go, I didn't want the dollar sign. So ultimately, this is $2 per unit. That's the average cost. So now, when we say on April 23rd, to wrap things up, we sell 2 units of inventory. Whatever 2 units we grab, again, 2 random bowls I'm going to grab. Doesn't matter the date on them. For weighted average says we grab 2 units, so 2 bowls. We're going to pretend we're done caring about what the specific costs were. We're going to pretend they each cost $2, the weighted average. 2 bowls at $2 each. So if we sell 2 bowls at $2 each, that's a cost of goods sold of $4. All right? I hope that made sense. If it didn't, we could keep going. We could do more complex ones. I'm here. I got the time for it, and I want to make sure you succeed. So let me know what you want, and thank you for your time.